You built the fortress, brick by brick, the six-figure job, the gym routine, the emotional intelligence books, the remembered anniversaries, the flowers on random Tuesdays, the active listening, the non-threatening posture, the willingness to apologize first. You became the man that every relationship advice column told you to become. And she still walked out the door, not for someone better, for someone realer, someone messier, someone who forgot her birthday but remembered how to make her feel alive. This is the story that men don't tell at parties, the story that doesn't fit the self-improvement narrative, the story that makes the entire personal development industry look like a scam. Because it is, not the development part. The part where they promised you that if you just became good enough, you would be safe. That if you just checked enough boxes, you would be chosen. That if you just became perfect, you would be immune to betrayal. That was the lie. And today we're going to burn it down. If you're ready to hear the truth that will make you question everything you've been working toward, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. Next week, I'm breaking down the exact architecture of a man who doesn't need to be perfect to be unforgettable. You do not want to miss it. The first thing that dies in a perfect man is danger. Not physical danger, emotional danger, the edge, the unpredictability, the sense that this person could walk away, that they have options, that they are choosing you from a place of abundance, rather than settling for you from a place of scarcity. When a man becomes perfect, he becomes safe, and safe is the enemy of desire. Desire needs friction. It needs uncertainty. It needs the feeling that you are winning something, not being handed something. The perfect man hands himself over completely. He hides nothing. He challenges nothing. He risks nothing. And in doing so, he removes the very thing that makes a woman feel like she is being chosen by a man of value. Because a man of value has boundaries. He has standards. He has a life that doesn't completely revolve around her. He has the ability to say no, to disagree, to walk away if the terms are wrong. The perfect man has none of that. He has compliance. He has accommodation. He has a desperate need to be approved that masquerades as love. And women can smell that desperation underneath the perfection, like a dog smells fear. It doesn't matter how expensive the cologne is. The fear is what lingers. The second thing that dies is polarity. Perfect men become androgynous. They absorb the feminine energy of emotional processing, of constant communication, of relationship maintenance, until there is no masculine counterweight left. They become their partner's best girlfriend with a deeper voice. They process feelings. They talk about emotions. They want to understand. They want to connect. They want to be seen. And all of that is beautiful in the right doses. But when it becomes the entire dynamic, when the man has no masculine edge, no direction, no forward momentum, no gravitational pull of his own, the woman becomes the man in the relationship. She becomes the one with the drive, the direction, the decisiveness. And that exhausts her, because she didn't sign up to be the man. She signed up to be with one. The gas station guy, the one who forgot her birthday, the one who didn't have his life together, he had something the perfect man didn't. He had polarity. He had a masculine presence that didn't need her validation to exist. He didn't process emotions for hours. He didn't ask how she felt about everything. He just was. And that being, that unapologetic existence, that lack of need for her approval, created a polarity that made her feel feminine, that made her feel like a woman. And that feeling, that return to her own feminine energy, is more addictive than all the perfect behavior in the world, because perfection is work, polarity is rest, and she was exhausted from working. The third thing that dies is tension. Perfect men eliminate conflict. They smooth everything over. They apologize before the argument starts. They compromise before the disagreement forms. They create a life that is frictionless. And frictionless is frictionless in the wrong way. A relationship without tension is a relationship without life. Tension is where growth happens. Tension is where attraction lives. Tension is the space between two people who are fully themselves, where their edges meet and spark. The perfect man has no edges. He has sanded them all down in the name of being easy to love. He never challenges her. He never pushes back. He never creates the dynamic where she has to rise to meet him. And because she never has to rise, she never feels the stretch of becoming more. She never feels the thrill of being met by someone who is her equal or more. She just feels the flatness of a life where everyone is always nice, always agreeable, always pleasant. And nice is a slow death. Nice is the anesthesia that numbs you until you wake up one day and realize you feel nothing. The gas station guy created tension. He had opinions she didn't like. He had boundaries that didn't bend. He had a self that didn't reshape itself for her comfort. And that tension, that resistance, that sense of being met by something solid, made her feel alive in a way that perfect never could. Let me ask you something that will hurt. Are you perfect because you're powerful or because you're terrified? Drop the word power in the comments if you're starting to see the difference. I want to know how many of us have been hiding. The fourth thing that dies is mystery. The perfect man reveals everything. He shares his feelings. He explains his thoughts. He wants to be known completely. And being known is beautiful. But being completely known is the end of discovery. It's the end of the unknown. It's the end of the space where imagination lives. Women are drawn to mystery not because they want to be deceived, but because they want to discover. They want to peel back layers over time. They want to feel like there is always more to learn, more to uncover, more to understand. The perfect man lays everything on the table in the first month. Here is my trauma, here is my feelings, here is my needs, here is my complete emotional blueprint. And she appreciates the honesty. She respects the vulnerability, but she also feels like she has read the entire book in one sitting. There is nothing left to turn the page for. The gas station guy was a mystery. Not because he was hiding things, but because he wasn't trying to be understood. He wasn't performing his emotions for her approval. He was just living, and she was watching, and the watching was compelling. Because she didn't know everything. Because there was space for her to wonder. And wonder is the soil where attraction grows. Without it, everything becomes flat. Everything becomes known. Everything becomes finished. And finished is not compelling. Finished is over. The fifth thing that dies, and this is the one that will destroy your ego, is yourself. The perfect man doesn't exist. He is a performance, a construct, a character played by a man who believes that his real self is unlovable. So he creates a version that is lovable. He curates, he edits, he performs. And the performance is exhausting, not just for her, for him. He is constantly monitoring himself. Is this the right thing to say? Is this the right thing to do? Will this make her happy? Will this keep her? And that constant monitoring creates a distance between him and her. Because she is not in a relationship with him. She is in a relationship with his performance. And she can feel the distance. She can feel that she is not actually touching him. She is touching the mask. She is touching the character. She is touching the man he thinks he needs to be. And that distance, that sense of never actually reaching the real person, creates a loneliness that is deeper than being alone. Because she is with someone, but she is not connected to anyone. The gas station guy, for all his flaws, was real. She was touching the actual person, not the performance, not the mask. And that realness, that authenticity, that lack of distance, created an intimacy that perfection could never replicate. Because perfection is a wall, realness is a door, and she walked through it. So what do you do with this? You stop being perfect. You stop performing. You stop checking boxes. You stop trying to become the man that will never be left. Because that man doesn't exist. And the attempt to become him is what makes you leavable. You start being real. You start having edges. You start creating tension. You start maintaining polarity. You start keeping some mystery. You start being a man instead of a performance. You start understanding that your value is not in your perfection. It is in your realness. It is in your willingness to be seen as flawed, as imperfect, as human. Because that is the only thing that creates real connection. That is the only thing that creates real intimacy. That is the only thing that makes a woman feel like she is with a person, not a product. And when she feels like she is with a person, she doesn't look for escape. She looks for depth. She doesn't look for excitement elsewhere. She finds it in the realness of being with someone who is actually there, not performing, not perfect, just real, just present, just himself. If this destroyed your ego in the right way, hit that like button so more men who need this can find it. Subscribe and turn on the bell if you want to keep getting the truth that most people are too scared to say. Drop a comment below with the word real if you're done being perfect. And if you know a guy who is exhausting himself trying to be flawless, send this to him. He deserves to know that his perfection is the problem, not the solution. Until next time, stop performing, start being. This is Mind of Connection. I'll see you soon.